So, why invincibility? Well, as I transitioned my work from healing into women's empowerment, I was looking at the concept of women's strength and the idea of feminine based strength. So, that's feminine energy. And it seemed like all kind of images and definitions seemed to kind of more sort of revolve around the idea of how much women can endure, and that was where our strength lied, is how much could we take. And whether that's injustice or any other kind of violence or anything of that nature, it was just that it didn't seem to embody what I considered to be feminine strength. And so I was kind of looking for a new definition, a new way of embodying what I believed was truly what feminine energy and feminine strength looks like. And probably the closest word I had at the time was a swear word, which I try not to use. And therefore, probably the closest word to that at the time was to be unshakable. If you do the inner work, the spiritual path, there's kind of a promise that if you do this inner work, you'll be unshakable. But it seemed to have a sense of resistance still in it. It seemed to have a sense of endurance in it. Someone's trying to shake you and you're trying to have to defend yourself against it. So it didn't feel quite right to me. And so I came to the word invincible. And it had always been quite a masculine word, I think you'll agree. When we think about invincibility, we think about battle and rigidity and this masculine idea of not being overcome. And it's got a very male orientated ideas attached to it. And the first definition of invincibility is quite like that, because it's kind of to be impossible to defeat, unconquerable, impossible to defeat. And that kind of has what we normally have connotations to. But there's a second part to that definition, and it's to be impossible to prevent from doing what you intend. And when I heard that, I kind of thought to myself, well, if you're somebody who is trying to do good in the world, are consciously choosing, if you are positively intending, not just for yourself, but for others, you've got a more beautiful view of the world that you want to share with others, then why would you want to be prevented from sharing this with the world? Why would we allow ourselves to be prevented from sharing this with the world? And so, this felt like a good fit. And, women especially, I'm not saying all, I'm doing a generalization here, but women especially tend to get derailed from their purpose, from their dreams. We're often told that we're reaching too far, our dreams aren't possible for us. And, there's all kinds of social impediments, injustice, legal issues, various other reasons. And, we even also have conditioning that puts limitations on ourselves. And so wouldn't it be nice if it was impossible to prevent us from fulfilling our intentions? So, if you're a man and you are invincible, the idea is that you can have a unwavering, unchangeable, unconquerable belief that you deserve success. And you may be very selfish, you may be very tunnel visioned, and yet society applauds you in that. But with women, we have this other sort of societal limitation that kind of says, oh, you can't do that. You can't be that. What about your other duties? What about your other roles? Yeah, okay, maybe you can have some success, but only as long as you are also doing all the other stuff too. And so I felt really strongly that, this masculine mindset is quite arrogant usually. It's quite aggressive usually. It's quite selfish usually. And why is that? Because it is sourced from the mind. It's a belief. Beliefs are of the mind. And therefore it is created from a place of ego. But what if, and I believe this is true, if feminine invincibility wasn't coming from the mind, but was actually coming and being sourced from our soul? And that's what the spiritual path is about. It's about moving away from the mind and the ego and being directed in life by our soul and the characteristics of the soul. So, what would feminine invincibility look like? What would it be like? Instead of it being sourced from a belief, it was sourced from a sense of knowing, our intuition. It's not belief based, it's knowing based. It's not selfish, it's inclusive, and it's not just for ourselves, it's for others too. A lot of the characteristics of the soul are love, peace, joy, collaboration, cooperation, sharing, giving, kindness. If this is what sourced our invincibility, wouldn't it be quite different? And so the intention really that I think that we could have as a community would be that we're sourcing ourselves, our intentions from a place of soul, and therefore love, peace, joy, abundance. And abundance is really important because a lot of what the masculine model or the masculine ideas come from, and what lots of systems are set up on, is the idea that something is lacking and you must get something to fulfill that lack or to fill that lack. And so that is essentially because the mind believes in the idea of lack. The soul knows there is no lack and there's only pure abundance. And so our intentions become very, very different. And therefore, how we operate in the world therefore changes. So if we had female invincibility, we operated from a place of love, peace, joy, and abundance. If you're in a state of abundance, well, you're in integrity as well. Why? Because you're incorruptible. If you believe you have everything that you need and you're operating from a place of wholeness and love and joy and peace, what could the world offer you to corrupt you? Nothing, right? And yet, what happens when any man, usually, not always, but men usually, come into what we call power, but a position of authority is the more accurate description, is that they're usually corrupted. And yet, what happens if you came from true abundance? What happens if you were sourced, if your intentions were not just for oneself, but for all of humanity and all animals and all plants and the whole planet? It's a very different strength, and it's a very different kind of true. It's actually true power. And so that's the kind of invincibility that I am looking at sharing and growing, all of us. And we're going to do this together. Because when you are sourced from this place, you have an inner strength. That inner strength is you feel safe within yourself. You have a knowing that you can always go to. You have wisdom that you can always go to. You are able to walk through the world with safety at its core. And who doesn't want to feel safe at their core, right? We'll be walking through the world. This is my dream, really, that we walk through the world radiating our beautiful inner light. We are creating without limit, and we don't have these fears. We don't have these limitations, and we are able to live our purpose, fulfill our purpose, help others in the process, and really create a more beautiful world. And part of this invincibility, impossible to prevent from meeting your intention. This is a really important part because you know what? We all know lower vibration people. We all know, we can see how society is currently operating. People are going to want to pull you down, right? People are going to want to use their words, their actions, situations to pull you down and knock you down and take you off your path. But if we become invincible, then this is all irrelevant, because it's not going to be possible to take us off our path. It's not going to be possible to distract us. It's not going to be possible to corrupt us. And so, to me, this is the embodiment of true power. When no one or nothing can take you off your path, when no one or nothing can disturb your inner peace, your inner joy, that makes you limit the way you love and how much you love, and allow love to flow through you, then you become invincible. And so this is the hope for the membership. This is how I see, and this is my dream, that we become this and that we can embody this more. Now, this is not going to happen overnight. I'm not going to claim it can happen overnight. This is a process. There are stages of evolution and growth that we all have to go through. There are lots of people who try and promise spiritually that you're going to be enlightened in a one-day course. It's not going to happen. It's not supposed to happen that way. And for some people, it will take many lifetimes. And that's okay too. We are all evolving at the pace that we are able to. But we are going to go through stages. And it's good to have a path, a clearer path. It's good to know and be able to assess where you are on that path, and to just do the practices so that you are embodying the characteristics of the soul. And that doesn't mean giving up anything that you need. If anything, it's just a return to your true power. And so, there's a great joy in becoming invincible. There's a great peace in becoming invincible. There's a sense of wholeness of becoming invincible. And so I hope you will join me. If you've joined the membership, we are going to be on a wonderful journey together, starting in October 2022 and going forward. And I hope you have the same dream as me, and that we can do this together. I'm not going to say that I am purely invincible in this moment. And I think it's nice to do this journey together. We're all at different stages, and the membership will have videos, trainings, sharing. We've got a community space as well, so we can share our talents as well. And let's do this together. Thank you.